Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Talk Tuesday, which is all about habits today. And the reason that I thought of this particular topic today was because that Ed Sheeran song about bad habits kept playing around in my head and I just couldn't get it out. So I thought, well, maybe we'll talk about habits in that case. And also, on a more serious note, it is because creating new habits is something that I talk about a lot with my clients, particularly in my 12-week program. So, talking about habits today, I want to talk about both good and bad habits. We all have them, both types. And it's often the case that we want to get rid of the bad habits and we want to bring in some new good habits. And good habits could be anything, from starting a meditation practice, eating more fruit and vegetables, you know the sort of thing. Bad habits, equally anything, whether it's biting your fingernails or smoking, drinking too much, all of those things. But when you're thinking about your habits, if it is something that you want to change, the main question to ask yourself is it something that serves you? Does that habit serve you? And if it doesn't serve you anymore, is it something that you want to change? And then, if so, how are you going to go about it? Now, habits that are ingrained in us, that are sort of long-term habits, can take a long time to break, but that can be so worth it. And it does just depend on how you feel about it. Now, I heard something the other day about how long it takes to create a new habit. Often we hear that it takes 21 days or 28 days, but in fact there has been some research a while back which shows that it can actually take much longer than that, and the average time it takes people to create a new habit is actually 66 days. And when you think that that's the average, that means that some people can do it faster, some people take a lot longer. I think the top number was something like 200 and something days, which is obviously a long time. I guess it depends on what that habit is, and it also depends on the individual person. But the main message is that, 3 weeks is not going to do it generally. It's going to take you at least 2 months. And I just think that it helps to know that up front. Now, that research was particularly about creating a new habit. That's how long it takes to get it ingrained in you. In terms of breaking a habit, again, timings vary, but what the research has found is that it's easier to break a habit if you find a replacement behaviour for that habit. And I was thinking about this because 5 years ago, I decided that I needed to change my diet and go gluten-free. But I absolutely adore bread, and I thought that I was going to really struggle to give it up. And, it's all around you, isn't it? You walk into a supermarket and you've got that amazing smell of fresh bread. But so I actually knew instinctively that I needed to find a replacement if I was going to break the habit of, eating tons of fresh gluten-filled bread. And for me, luckily there is gluten-free bread available, and I needed to do that because I'm somebody who just loves to have sandwiches and toast, and I knew that if I just tried to cut it out of my diet completely and just go cold turkey on any kind of bread, I would really struggle. So for me, I did sort of get that replacement there. There's one that's a challenge for me at the moment. I do have I do have a coffee habit, and it's a lot better than it used to be. But actually, again, that was something that informed my thinking, because I realised that actually it is now just a habit. I don't even necessarily enjoy it every day when I have it. It used to be a habit that every morning I'd get up and make myself a nice fresh cup of coffee. Now, sometimes I still want to do that, and sometimes I really, really enjoy it. But recently I've been finding that actually I was doing it out of habit, and, I wasn't even enjoying it that much. So again, I started to think about, what could I replace it with? And I haven't found the optimal thing yet, but there are various alternatives that I can go to that keep me off the coffee, or at least keep me off it for much longer than I had done before. So, what I would say to you, if you are looking to create a new habit, or break an old habit that you want to change is, first of all, know upfront that it's going to take you at least 2 months. I find that makes it easier if I know that, that's going to be the minimum time frame. I find focusing on your motivation really, really helps. And again, with me, with the gluten-free stuff, my motivation was I was having all sorts of digestion problems. And that for me was a strong enough motivation to give up something that I loved, because that was far better than, the side effects that I was getting from eating the gluten. That's just one example. There will be tons of others depending on what it is that your habits are. Also, work out what your triggers are for if it's a bad habit, and then either try and avoid those triggers or know how you're going to manage them. So for me, going back to the coffee example, it's great to meet friends for a coffee in a really nice coffee shop. And I struggled for a bit because I thought, what am I going to do? I'm going to be sitting here, surrounded by people drinking lovely coffees, and the smell is absolutely wonderful. And yes, I could avoid coffee shops altogether. I could avoid meeting friends in them, but that's a big part of social life. So I didn't want to do that. But then I discovered through a friend chai lattes, and I really, really enjoy them. So that is my go-to now. If I'm going to a coffee shop to meet friends, and it's not a day when I want to have coffee, then I will have a chai latte. So, that is how I manage my particular trigger in terms of going into a coffee shop. I give myself another treat drink. And then my third tip, in terms of dealing with changing a habit, is when you have a relapse, a setback, don't beat yourself up, because that's just going to make you feel worse. And then if you beat yourself up, it's easy to fall back into the old behaviour. It's a bit like that, I'm going to go on a diet, you survive for 5 days or whatever it is, and then you have a bag of crisps, which is not on your diet, and then you think, oh, well, I've blown it now, so I might as well have a tub of ice cream as well. It's kind of, you go down into that rabbit hole of one thing after another. But if instead of thinking, oh, crikey, I've had that bag of crisps, I really shouldn't have had that, what a terrible person I am. If you just think, well, okay, I slipped up, that doesn't matter, we're human, we make mistakes, it's all about a learning process. And remember, it takes the time. 5 days isn't very long, 66 days average to change that habit. So if you don't beat yourself up and just accept that, that's just a little setback along the way, get straight back on track, but also celebrate how far you've come. So, if you are at the 5-day mark, you think, well, okay, I made it 5 days on my new regime before this little setback, and then you get back on the wagon and you start again. And that celebration, I think, is really, really important, because we don't give ourselves credit often for what we've done. And then we just fall back into those old habits. So if you've got a habit that you think is no longer serving you, then maybe just give it some thought about, whether you'd like to change it, and if so, what you'd like to do about it. It's, as I say, as part of my my program that I go through with clients, the 12-week program From Doubt to Decision, there are new habits as part of that, one of which is a visualization designed to make you feel more confident. And that was something that came to mind as well when I was thinking about the habits, because I advise clients to do that on a daily basis, because that is all about creating that new habit, which helps you to feel more confident. But anyway, that is a whole other topic. I just thought I would mention it as another example of how to create a new habit. So that was really all I wanted to say about habits today. As ever, if you want to talk to me in more detail about anything, do get in touch. I'd love to talk to you. But for now, I will say thank you very much for watching. Have a great Tuesday and a great week, and I will see you again back here next week. Bye-bye.